Yeah. Okay.
As part of the Bharat Semiconductor Society, we have learned some sessions like free wheeling chat with experts and subject matter experts, startups, entrepreneurs, and different verticals too. So we invite you and welcome you on this evening. So can you please introduce?
Thank you, Sampath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Myself, Senthil Rajendran. Uh, I am currently in a startup which is focusing on manufacturing semiconductors in India. So it may sound a little crazy, but uh, having a startup in semiconductor manufacturing is a little different than the current trend. And from my background, I have 25, close to 25 years of experience in various parts of IT, right from the embedded hardware development to embedded software to web applications to even a little bit of cloud and those areas. So the entire spectrum. So I can understand when you say when you take any electronic product, I can understand what it does and how it works and how to manufacture that. The entire spectrum I understand. With that, I am scaling down to whether we can have a similar approach to actually manufacture a semiconductor. So with that thought, we are into semiconductor manufacturing. And our company name is Microbear Applied Sciences Private Limited.
Okay. So what are challenges you do face in the in the startup? You could have come across a lot of hurdles and challenges, right?
Yes. Um, okay. There are multiple challenges, and every challenge is a learning. That's how we have to perceive to make things much easier. First thing is when it comes to semiconductor manufacturing, we do not have a semiconductor ecosystem in India. So it means for any information, anything, we have to uh, look up online as much of public data available. Based on that, we have to do our own trial and error on most of the points that we see in theory, but we don't even know how much of them will actually work in practice or not. And ideally, we have to tie up with the institutes like IITs, IISc. But thing is, they are too much of overloaded with a lot of their internal projects and other things. It's pretty much difficult to get a slot with them to get the access to the equipments. So we have to think out of the box right from the even equipment perspective, the entire process perspective, like how we can do things independently. That put it in another way, I know the term called Indian Jugaad.
Yeah.
So whether we can apply that in terms of semiconductor manufacturing. So this itself is a complete challenge because we do not get much support as well. It means whenever we talk to some of the experts, people regarding semiconductor manufacturing, they find it little hesitant to share details because we don't have the semiconductor manufacturing background as a prior experience. So that makes them hesitant to share a lot of information. And whatever we have the information in the public is a generic information. Let us say we say silicon doping. We can go dig deeper and identify what is silicon doping, how to do it. That's fine. Beyond that, let's say if I want to make a simple PN diode or a Zener diode or a MOSFET or a MESFET or speed or voltage, all these parameters, how do you vary based on the doping? So this kind of specific informations we do not have in public domain, which we have to do trial and error. It's a kind of reinventing wheel, little bit. But these are things we are slowly moving on, one step at a time.
So what are the global challenges emerging for the startups to start with?
Is it in general startups or
In
specific to
general,
semiconductors?
semiconductor startups. I mean.
Okay. Uh, One thing is I see lot of demand and supply problem. It means on one side, you actually see a lot of problems around us which needs to be solved. But on the other side, you have a lot of startups coming up, which is also partially a good thing. One problem is because of the volume, the actual quality kind of startups which actually make the product which is more useful for the ecosystem, be it on the practical sciences or semiconductors or any technology. So that those numbers are little lesser. It's more most startups, they focus on how to raise money to handle the money or the amount spent in the previous round. It's like every round, right from the angel stage to from the seed, angel, VC, and IPO. This is the path that most of the startups are having in their mind, which creates a little bit of problems, pressure for the founders as well as the investors. So, because of that, I see that the real focus on the actual product getting to the market with a quality product or quality service, that part is missed out somewhere along the path. If you see many of the failed startups which are in industry now, so they all have this pattern. At every stage, the founders, more than the founders, the investors focus on return of investments, which is good, but the expectation of the return of investment is little too high, that which is practically difficult to achieve for the startups. Sorry. This puts enormous unwanted pressure on the founders. So, because of which they start making mistakes in their strategic planning, in their execution, in their hiring process. If you see some of the startups, they hire a lot and then they fire a lot. So it means it does not give a good ambience to everyone, right from the startup ecosystem to the candidates, sorry, employees, everyone has a problem here.
So you could see youngest people doing a lot of startups from IITs, right? In IITs and all.
Right,
So what's the background of them? Because as soon as they complete their graduation, right? They soon
right.
so what type of uh, people can sustain in the market? Because as you see, many people, many startups are withered out, right?
Right.
So what is your
Okay.
yeah, take on this?
Yeah. Sorry. Um, is the are the founders focused on making quick money, or are they looking for a long-term sustainability? It's the key thing, primary key thing. And if I when I say long-term sustainability, are the founders focused on creating another Tata or another IBM or another Bosch, which can stay afloat for another 100 years, 200 years? Do they have that kind of mindset? If they have, they can sustain for a longer duration. If that is not the focus, if they are thinking of like a kind of lottery, you slog for quite amount of for a year or two, and then you start getting investors at multiple levels, and then you go exit with the IPO. It means by the time if you go for IPO, everyone on the way gets the money, right from the seed investors to angel investors to VCs, everyone. But if you see the final retail investors, the common people who invest in the IPO, they do not get anything at all. So that is one part on the investment point. And another part, because of this focus, founders also lose the majority shareholding in the company over a period of time. And once they lose the majority shareholding, they also lose the interest in actually contributing to the company. It's natural. We always take care of our baby much better than much caring than others baby, right? Moment the founders lose the majority shareholding, they get that feeling. It's a human psychology.
Yeah.
People can do marketing, create a lot of jargons, everything, but it's a basic human psychology. So once you reach that stage, it means if you see, if end of the day, when it goes to the IPO stage, probably many founders may not be on board at all. It'll be like a company which is run by a lot of executives from different fields, different streams. But the core founders who created the company with a particular value, that may be totally missing.
Yeah.
But founders think that okay, chalo, I did it, I had an exit, I made a lot of money, I use it for something else. So that focus kind of thing is there. If the founder is focused on such kind of things, they make a quick money, that's fine, but end of the day, who is the losers? They have to think about it. I don't think that thought is there in the ecosystem right now. No one talks about the actual losers, the retail investors, because they don't get anything at all. It's like, you know, similar to the conning. You con people saying that we will pay 36% interest rate per annum and get a lot of money from a lot of people, and then finally you uh, leave them in limbo, right? It's a kind of yeah, it may not be diplomatic. It may sound little rude, but the way many startups fail, and if you see the entire path, and finally what it happens, it goes that way, and that is on the final stage. Before that, in the earlier stage, the founders, by the time they actually get the product to the market and get it validated, and let's say start making a smaller revenue, those are the toughest challenges, toughest times for the actual founders. Many startups fail in that till that stage because the founders run out of money for sustaining, and that say end of the day it's like food, shelter, clothing, the basic necessities for humans. So when founders put in their heart and soul in that, they miss out very easily that when they have to stop spending their personal money. I have seen founders who have taken additional loan from outside to make it sustain, and the interest rate is also not even as per the standard bank rate, because banks are looking for collateral which these startups cannot have. So without collateral, when they are trying to go for a loan, the interest rate is pretty high. So it means finally the founders end up not having the actual product, but more worried about repaying the interest on the loan for the lenders. So it ends up, and till this time, the support for them is crucial, which I think it's insufficient as of now.
So what is your thought on reviving the failed startups in semiconductor?
Um, okay. You mean for the semiconductors, the startups, I
Yeah,
mean, how they can contribute?
yeah. How can we, yeah. What is your thoughts on the failed startups? That is how to revive the failed startups. What is your yeah thought process on behind it?
Okay. Yeah. One thing is um, the founders or the idea that they take up may not be at the for the right time. Timing is market timing is pretty crucial. Let's say in today's world, if I say I come up and say I want to make a Nokia 1100 mobile phone as my new startup idea, it may not sell. Same way, if I want to say I want to plan for a time travel machine today, it may not sell. These all may look like some fancy ideas, but on the one side, a Nokia 1100, it's a dead idea long back. Now we have latest, smartest phones, so people may not be interested in anything like that. Same way, if I go for a little unrealistic, like I want to build uh, a time machine, so that is also more unrealistic. So something more which is more practical, and which is usable in the current scenario. No need to think very really advanced of much 5 years or 10 years down the line people will start using. No, we don't even know if the humans will exist after 10 years. Okay, so in the scenario, in the current scenario, today is a problem people are facing, and can I solve it? If I solve, will the user pay for it? It could be a service or it could be a product. Are they ready to pay for it? And uh, can it be scaled? I don't think of like $1 billion scaling and all. No, let's start in a smaller way. Let us say we are in a cities like Chennai or Coimbatore or Bangalore. Okay, in that city, you see a real problem and you are trying to address it. Whether those people around you in Chennai, can you make them as your customer? How realistic is this? If this thought process has comes, the success rate will improve a little bit. And already failed startups, it is fine, no issues. Failing is not at all a problem. It's never a problem. Whether we try it again or not, if we try the next time, did we learn all the lessons we faced during the failure? Using that, can we try it in a different approach, or can we fine tune our approach? So though if those thought processes are there, then still it is fine.
So startups in European, US, right? So when you compare to the Indian startups, However, you can see number of companies in the US and Europeans, they survive better than Indian startups.
Yeah.
So what do you think yeah, in this regard?
Okay. Um, yeah. In our Indian ecosystem, or let me put it this way, in our Indian society, we have a standard template. Like when you are born, okay, the moment you are born, immediately the parents start planning for their future. Over a period of time, they tune in such a way that they have to become a doctor, engineer, some professional career. So it means you go to school, you go to college, and then you get a job, good job, get married, have kids, and in the meantime, you apply for a housing loan, get stuck up with the EMI, so that you so this is the standard template. If anyone violates this template, they are considered as outliers, right? So anyone violating this, generally the startup founders are those who violate these templates, and these violators are not received well in our Indian society as of now. It has started but not up to the limit. Whereas if you consider the Europe, US, or other places, this kind of violators are greeted well. Like they like that creative thinking or out of the box thinking, where they want to make a change in the world. That kind of proactiveness they are considered as really good. In our system, especially in India, that thought process has to change a bit. It takes a little of time, but it needs to, I mean, it needs a little bit of bravery on the founders to move away from the template or away from the mass approach. So for that, how much our ecosystem, right from the family to our society, peer pressure. Let's say a founder who starts a startup, and another 5 years he is not making any revenue, but probably the same founder's parents, they will be having another friend whose son or daughter would have been placed in a campus, and after 5 years, they would have been earning a pretty hefty salary. So there's a very simple comparison. You see, my son or daughter is earning so many lakhs per month, whereas your son or daughter is into as a startup and no revenue. What is this? And there is one more key point. If, especially if it is a boy, unfortunately in our society, even though we say equality, if it is a boy, and if he does not have a stable salary, he don't get a spouse.
Yeah, correct.
It's a social stigma.
Yeah,
So
that's
because of that also, this also one of the key impediments when it comes to startups managing the stress of all these things.
see, I could see one interesting thing that many big service-based companies in India are not taking any risk
Yeah,
to make a foundry or anything, right? So what's
right.
standpoint on this? So you are not taking any risk so far.
True. That is perfectly true. Service companies, it's a stable. It's same like similar to, uh, I would say, compared to a government job version. It may look a little odd. One of the reason why the lot of demand for government jobs in India is not because there are no other jobs. It's because government job is as stable as it can get. You can be there until you retire. 99.9% you won't be get fired from the job. Okay. Same way when it comes to service industry, people try to work on or provide what the customer is asking for. And moment customer says, boss, I want this particular product, then there itself the customer lays out a boundary within which you have to have your entire thought process. It means many of the service industries, I have seen myself, even many of the MNCs, they don't share many of the key technologies to India.
Yeah, that is
So
true.
to ensure that we are not exposed to those tech, those science or those basics. Yeah, because of that, we have limitation in our thought process itself. When we say robotics, at the maximum, in India in general, at least till 10 years back, when we say robotics, it will be like a pick and place robot or smaller college projects, those kind of things. Hardly we had robotics in manufacturing. And all the robots we imported from Japan, Korea, China, or other countries, for our manufacturing industries, including our car companies. So there was no one manufacturing the robots for the car manufacturing in India, right? So so the entire boundary for thought process itself is limited here because of the access to technology and all. So, but whereas service companies, they find it comfortable because for one, they have to answer to their shareholders. So shareholders, they keep need revenue, need profit, and the profit should be in a growth curve. Shareholders don't accept a flat or a negative curve, never. So that is a first level pressure on the part. Another part is the service companies have gone so big. Let's say companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, something. It's more of manpower game. How many people you have and how much you have built them, and those kind of things. Whereas when it comes to semiconductor manufacturing, okay, based on my study, my analysis, um, by the time we started addressing the Y2K problem, if the survey big players like some of the big players in industry who are addressing the IT area, if they have dedicated a small team like 5 people or 10 people dedicated exclusively to study the manufacturability of semiconductors, by this time we would have at least had few homegrown mid-sized semiconductor companies who can manufacture chips.
Yeah,
But
true.
our focus was not there because those semiconductors is also has a bit of geopolitics as well, and a bit of red tapeism, and also uh, resource crunchy. They use a lot of resources, natural resources, like from real estate to power to water, chemicals, chemical wastages. There are a lot of things involved there. So people who has to think holistically in all these equations together, that was somehow missed. I'll give another point as well. Mm, One of the key requirements for semiconductor manufacturing is expertise in physics. Okay, anyone, there are multiple physics, right from optics to crystal structure to there are a lot of physics involved.
Correct.
In India today, if someone has done PhD in physics, 99% they will end up only in academy as a teaching staff.
Correct.
We do not even have much of postdoc opportunities at the maximum few universities, no industry opportunity for them. So what is the motivation for them to actually study more? So what is the motivation for them to focus on the semiconductor industry? I don't think we even have a homegrown commercial telescope or commercial microscope. Forget about the advanced photolithography and all. Even the microscope telescope itself, we don't have any commercial point of view, right?
Yeah.
Most of the high-end ones we always import. So have we addressed them? No.
Correct.
We have a serious problem there.
So we have been importing semiconductor equipments, right? So why
Right.
the Indian government consider of
Mhm.
manufacturing the semiconductor equipments along with these big service companies like that? What?
Okay. One thing is from the expertise point of view, how many of us know what is inside those equipments? What are they made of? What kind of science they are using? Whether it is optical physics, electrical physics, or say crystal structure, lattice, X-ray. There are a lot of physics involved, lot of chemistry involved, lot of mechanical engineering, micro precision engineering involved, micro robotics. Normally we have robots which can move their arms in meters, centimeters, millimeters. Whereas here, let's say the wire bonding, where the robotic arm moves in micrometers to nanometers. That kind of precision, in naked eye, we cannot even see it, right? To actually make a wire bonding. So, do we have even people, experts, even let's say government talks to the big companies and then they also say, okay, but do we have the real expertise? That expertise also we have to import from outside for now. And all the semiconductor industries across the world are too busy right now. They cannot spare those experts now.
Yeah, a reverse brain drain have to happen. Most of the Indians working in Korea, Taiwan, Malaysia, Singapore,
Right.
people working semiconductor equipment industries too. So how the government can attract a plan or a reverse brain drain to India? As you see, India is emerging as a potential center for semiconductors.
Right.
It's widely told.
Right. Everything boils down to economics.
Okay.
Let's say an engineer working in Korea, he is earning, um, say after everything, he gets 2 lakhs per month on hand.
Okay.
Okay. And if we have to develop our own center, definitely first 2 years or 3 years, there will not be any revenue, zero revenue. So are the companies and is the government willing to create a team with zero revenue, ready to pay 2 or 3 lakhs per month, and get them dedicatedly work on that? Are we ready for economics, pure economics? You know why people go to West? I
Yeah.
don't think it's purely about lifestyle. It's more about dollars,
Yes.
dollars, dollars, dollars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Same. Suppose if we are able to pay more than what the US is paying, I think we can attract a lot of our own talent.
Correct.
But it's not going to happen. Let's not compare with US. Let's try with the eastern side, Korea, China, Japan, wherever our Indians are working. So we can attract them. But we should, a few things. One is good money and good working environment. As you know, there are a lot of politics in everywhere, right? Those politics should be removed. It should be like similar to how people work in the army. Dedication. They will be assured of money. So once they are assured of money, their paycheck every month, the mental dedication, that orientation has to be there. And whatever the support they need, it should not, there should not be any kind of red tape limitation. Let's say I want to order a small x-ray machine, x-ray machine, let's say sorry, a scanning electron microscope I have to order. Okay, it means I immediately identify a vendor, I immediately place an order, and government should approve in no time. Those kind of things. Or on the other hand, it has to go through across half a dozen departments, each one they taking their own sweet time to approve. By the time these guys would have completed their tenure at itself, right? That
Yeah.
is also there. The
Yeah.
So all these factors come into picture.
How the service industries can itself create a small team of some product and how it can be scalable. So slowly the service can create work for a product model. That's not happening.
No, it doesn't happen. I have talked to many people. I have talked to people in service industry, product industry as well. There is one major problem. Moment a service company starts making a product, their customers back off. This I have seen. So it means they lose their customer, which is their perennial revenue. They lose that. So when they, because their customer gets nervous, what if this company copies from their customer, use it in their product, and become a competitor?
For example,
As simple as yeah,
IP.
as simple as a Hero Honda. No, forget about IP.
Okay.
IP and all is secondary. All are just legal formalities.
Okay.
Okay, you know, anyone cared about China's IP? No one cared, right? Hmm? And then today we are complaining that China is this, China is that. All these are, I would say, nonsense. I know many people will not like it, but even we have a lot of IPs in Canada, but we don't file any patents. We are not planning for any patents because the moment we file patent, it becomes a official publishing of our idea. So, so we don't file it unless it is absolutely necessary. We know when to file. We will file at the time, but just for the sake of filing, we don't file patent. Okay. So no one cares, no one questions China all these years about patents. And people are bothered about India because we are also a signatory of the GATT, right?
Yeah.
GATT patent treaty across the world. So because of that, we have that limitations. Okay. So for a moment, forget about the patents, IPs and all. Okay. It's about pure business. You know, Hero Honda, TVS, Suzuki, Bajaj, Chetak, all those things, right?
Yeah.
Kawasaki, Bajaj, they collaborated for quite some time. After that, uh, Honda, Hero became larger than Honda in India. TVS became larger than Suzuki in India, right? So as a customer, they have a problem there. At least that it was a partnership, it is fine. Let's say we are TCS, who is also having a good engineering, or let's say L&T or Tech Mahindra, those guys who are good in real good in engineering. They collaborate with companies like IBM or Intel or something. and they they have a core team. And one day somehow word gets out that one team in L&T, they are working to make a semiconductor manufacturing machine. Do you think IBM or Intel will be happy about it?
No,
Or do you think US government will be happy about it?
no.
With the given the geopolitics games that's going on right now, it's going to create a lot of shivers across people, across the board. So services companies, it will be very difficult for them to even remotely support the product development in semiconductors. In any field, it is difficult. In semiconductors, it's very difficult on the customer sensitivity and geopolitics nature of the game.
The Indian government is coming with different type of courses like BTech in VLSI and all.
Yeah.
Like, so what is your, yeah,
Yeah, they are also giving a lot of support and the ideas, everything is fine. But whether how much effective each of those idea is, only time will tell. Nothing is perfect. We come up with the idea, we try it out, there will be some failures, then we iterate it again, we keep trying. I don't think US, Europe, Japan for that matter, they succeeded on first try, right? Right from the policies, right from people, right from tech, everything. They also did a lot of iterations. Same way, we should have an open mind for iterations. Do we have that? Moment we have it, things will work.
okay. Yeah, thanks a lot for speaking. Yeah, it's your valuable time.
Okay,
Thank,
somebody. No issues. Yeah.
thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll stop the recording.